Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, welcome to Freedom Friday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am so grateful to be connecting with you today as we continue our journey into the mindful in presence here in this April. You know, this month we have been exploring on how being fully present in our lives, aware, awake, and engaged with what is happening right now. But we can transform everything from our relationship to our creativity to our inner peace. And today we're focusing on something so powerful. And that's how mindfulness creates freedom to connect authentically with ourselves and others. We've had such a rich week with conversations with Dr. Will teaching us on breathwork, to our exploration of mindfulness and actions, and to Oscar Vasquez's wisdom about estate planning as self-love, and to yesterday's discussion about mindful legacy building. Well, today we're bringing it all together to understand on how presence is the key to genuine conversations and connections. But before we dive in, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Ready to transform how you think about love and mental health? This May, join host Nyomi Banks and Dr. Will Washington and expert guests on love and mental health, a powerful 4-part series exploring relationships through the lens of mental wellness. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Ask Nyomi, Bridging the Gap. Do you have a story to share? Your experience matters. Email us at asknyomi@gmail.com and be part of the conversation that's changing lives.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. But before we dive in, let's ground ourselves with our 4-for-6 breathing practices that we did with Dr. Will just earlier this week. And this will help us to arrive in this moment together, all right? So if you all could just close your eyes if you can and prepare to breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale through your mouth for a count of 6, all right? Y'all ready to begin? All right, let's begin. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. One more. Inhale. 2, 3. Hold. 2, 3. Exhale. Now I want you to do one more deep breath in. Exhale. I want you to feel how that breath creates space in your body and mind. Feel how it brings you fully into the present moment. Now bring your awareness to any connections that you feel right now. Perhaps the connection to your own body as you breathe. The connection to me through my voice. the connection to the space around you. Now I want you to notice how presence naturally brings a sense of connection. Take one more deep breath in. And when you exhale, I want you to bring the awareness of connection with you as we continue this conversation. All right, you may gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something we do every day, Monday through Friday here, just to help ground us before we get into the topic at hand. All right, so actually, this is our last Friday for our Mindful and Present series. It's been a good one. Our last Freedom Friday for this series, all right? So, on Monday when Dr. Will spoke about breath work, he shared something profound. He said breath work would definitely have you telling your truth to yourself. And isn't that what genuine connection is all about? Truth-telling, right? Both with ourselves and with others. See, most of us move through our days on autopilot, only partially present for our lives and in our relationships. We're physically there, but our minds are somewhere else. So we replaying the past, worrying about the future, or simply distracted by the constant noise of our digital world. But this connection has become so normal that we hardly notice it anymore. We've adapted to the have presence, to the partial attention, to the fragmented connections. But deep in our souls, we know something is missing. We feel the hunger for genuine connection with ourselves, with others, with something larger than ourselves. Well, mindfulness is the path back to that connection. See, when we are fully present, we drop beneath the surface noise of life and access a deeper level of truth. We begin to notice what really is happening to our bodies, in our hearts, in our relationships. And we start to see the patterns that keep us isolated and the opportunities for genuine connections that we've been missing. So I've experienced this in my own journey. For years, I thought I was fully present in my relationships, especially with my family. But when I began practicing mindfulness, I realized how often I was physically there, but mentally I was somewhere else, planning my next task, worrying about work, or just lost in my own thoughts. Now, as I learned to bring my full attention to each moment, I discovered a level of connection that I hadn't known was possible. And those conversations became richer. Silences became more comfortable. Conflicts became more opportunities for deeper understanding rather than threats to be avoided. So how exactly does mindfulness create freedom to connect? Well, there's 3 key ways that I've experienced in my own life. First, with mindfulness creates freedom from the mental chatter that prevents real connections. So much of our mental energy is consumed by internal dialogue, judging, planning, analyzing, worrying. You see, this constant noise makes it nearly impossible to truly listen to another person or even hear our own deeper wisdom. So when we practice mindfulness, we learn to recognize this mental chatter without being controlled by it. We create space between our thoughts and our identity. And see, this space allows us to truly listen to ourselves and to others without a filter or our preconceptions and judgment. Secondly, mindfulness creates freedom from emotional reactivity that damages connection. See, when we're not present, we tend to react automatically to emotional triggers. Someone that says something that reminds us of past hurt, and we immediately withdraw or attack. These unconscious reactions create a cycle of disconnection that can last for years. You see, on Tuesday, I talked about how mindfulness helps us to respond rather than react. And when we're present, we can notice our emotional responses arising and choose how to engage with them. We can pause, breathe, and respond from our values rather than our wounds. You see, this freedom to choose our response rather than being driven by our reaction is so very transformative for our connections. And the third mindfulness, it creates freedom from the mask of personas that prevent authentic connections. You see, many of us have learned to present only a certain part of ourselves, right, to the world, the parts that we think that will be accepted or admired. We hide our vulnerabilities, we hide our struggles, we hide our true feelings. And see, in this selective sharing might seem safer, but it creates a profound loneliness because we're never truly seen or known. You know, as Oscar shared on Wednesday, there's an immense value in thinking about what we've leave behind and how we will be remembered, right? But mindfulness, it helps us to show up authentically now, allowing for a genuine connection that becomes part of our living legacy. Now, I want to be real with you all about something important about authentic connections, right? And with those authentic connections, it's not always comfortable. It's not. In fact, it often requires us to be with discomfort, the vulnerability of being seen, the awkwardness of genuine intimacy, and the courage to speak truth. This is where Dr. Will teaches us about breath work because it's so valuable. As he shared on Monday, breath invites the invitation of discomfort, that conversation of discomfort that you may be experiencing that you have not brought to yourself. So when we breathe consciously, we create a capacity to be with discomfort without running away or shutting down. We learn to stay present even when emotions are intense or conversations are challenging. You see, this ability to stay present with discomfort is essential for a genuine connection. So I experienced this recently with my mother who's living with dementia. And there was a day when she became very agitated and confused, repeatedly asking the same question and becoming increasingly upset. So in the past, I might have become frustrated myself or tried to distract her from her own distress, but instead, I remembered to breathe. I brought my awareness to my body, noticing the tightness in my chest and the impulse to fix or control the situation. Even my head started to hurt. But what I did was I breathed into that discomfort and simply stayed present in her agitation. And what happened next was amazing. Without even trying to change her experience, I was able to be fully in it with her. I held her hand and asked her to match my breathing, and I matched her breathing and simply acknowledged what she was feeling. So she calmed down, not because I had fixed anything, but because the quality of my presence has shifted and she felt connected, even in her confusion. See, that's the freedom that mindfulness offers. The freedom to connect authentically, even in difficult moments. The freedom to be with what is, rather than constantly trying to make things different. The freedom to love without conditions or expectations. Now, I want to share 3 practices that can help you to cultivate mindfulness connection in your daily life. First is the connection check-in. So before any interaction, whether it's with your partner, your child, a colleague, or even the person bagging your groceries, take 3 conscious breaths and ask yourself, how can I fully be present for this connection? This simple pause can help you to transition from doing mode to being mode. and making genuine connections possible. The second is the listening practice. In your next important conversation, commit to listening with your full present. Put away your phone. Turn away from your computer and bring your entire attention to that person speaking. I want you to notice any impulse to interrupt. Look at my got a little tongue tied. Notice impulse if you want to interrupt or plan your response or judge what they're saying. Each time your mind wanders, gently bring it back to listening fully. This practice transforms ordinary conversations into opportunities for deep connection. And if you feel that you're going somewhere, take a deep breath in, hold, and release. Just like that. And the third is the self-connection ritual. Each day, set aside some time to connect with yourself through mindful awareness. This could be through formal meditation, a mindful walk, or simply sitting quiet with a cup of tea. And during this time, I want you to ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? What do I need? Listen to your own wisdom with the same attention and care that you were offered a beloved friend. This practice helps you to maintain a connection with yourself, which is the foundation for all of your connections. You see, these practices, they help us to cultivate the freedom to connect authentically, both with ourselves and with others. And they also remind us that genuine connections is always available in the present moment. So we have the courage to show up fully. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about mindful connection, the balance between vulnerability and boundaries. And some people worry that being fully present and authentic means that they have to share everything with everyone or be available to everyone all the time. But that's not what mindful connection is about. True connection requires both openness and discernment. Being mindfulness helps us to discern when and how and with whom to share our authentic selves with. It helps us to create boundaries, to protect our energy while still allowing our genuine connections within these boundaries. So in fact, having clear boundaries actually enhances connections because it allows us to fully be present within those connections that we choose. So when we're not drained by inappropriate sharing or unhealthy relationships, we have more energy for those connections that truly matter. So this reminds me of what Oscar had shared on Wednesday the other day about the importance of making intentional choices about your legacy. Part of creating a legacy of meaningful connection is being intentional about where you invest your energy. Mindfulness helps you to make those choices with clarity and wisdom. And here's what I've discovered on my own journey. The more I practice mindful connection, the more natural it becomes. What once took conscious effort, bringing my full attention to a conversation, staying present with uncomfortable emotions, and expressing my authentic truth, now it happens more spontaneously. This is the freedom that mindfulness offers. The freedom to be fully ourselves, to connect genuinely with others, to experience that deep belonging that comes from being truly seen and accepted. Not in some idolized future, but right here, right now, in this messy, beautiful, and perfect present moment. So as we complete our third week of exploring mindfulness and present, I want to offer a practice that brings together everything that we explored about mindful connection. It's called the connection meditation, and it helps you to cultivate freedom to connect authentically with yourself and others. I want you to find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed, and you need about 15 to 20 minutes. Step 1, self-connection. I want you to begin with our 4-4-6 breathing practice for a few rounds, and then bring your awareness to your body, scanning from your feet to the top of your head. And I want you to notice any areas of tension or discomfort without trying to change them. Don't try to change it. Simply be with that experience exactly as it is. This is the foundation of your self-connection. The next step is the heart awareness. I want you to place your hand on your heart and bring your attention to the sensation there. Perhaps you notice that your heartbeat, perhaps you notice your warmth or your physical sensation. Or maybe you become aware of emotions present in your heart space. But whatever you discover, meet it with kind awareness. Step 3 is compassion cultivation. And as you continue breathing with your hand on your heart, I want you to silently repeat these phrases. May I be present with myself exactly as I am. May I connect with others from a place of authenticity. And may I recognize the deep connections that already exist. Feel these wishes resonating in your heart. Step 4, a connection expansion. Now bring to mind someone you love. I want you to visualize them clearly and extend the same wishes to them. May you be present with yourself exactly as you are. May you connect with others from a place of authenticity. May you recognize the deep connection that's already exists and feel your connection with this person. Universal connection is step 5. Finally, expand your awareness to all beings, recognizing the shared humanity that connects us all. And silently repeat, may all beings be present with themselves exactly as they are. May all beings connect with others from a place of authenticities. May all beings recognize the deep connection that already exists. And I want you to feel yourself as part of this larger web of connection. This meditation will help you to experience the freedom that comes with mindful connection. First with yourself, then with those that you love, and finally with all beings. It reminds you that connection is your natural state, available whenever you bring full presence to this moment. All right, my beautiful people, as we complete this week of exploring mindfulness and presence, I want to express my deepest gratitude for walking this path with me. Your presence, your comments, your shares, they remind me that we're not walking alone on this journey of self-love. So next week, we can conclude our exploration of mindfulness by focusing on its transform of our relation with change and uncertainty. And we'll discover how being fully present helps us to navigate life's transition with grace and wisdom. So this weekend, I invite you to practice the connection meditation that I shared. And I want you to notice how bringing mindfulness awareness to your experience, how it creates freedom to connect authentically, both with yourself and with others. And I want you to remember that genuine connection doesn't require perfection. It simply requires presence. The beauty of mindfulness is that it meets us exactly where we are. We don't need to already be perfectly present to practice. The practice itself gradually deepens our capacity for presence. So each moment of awareness is a moment of connection, no matter how briefly it lasts. So if you've already contained it within you, the capacity for profound perfection, Your mindful presence is the key that unlocks it. So before we end today, I want to remind you that the Year the Rebirth Workbook has powerful exercise for cultivating mindfulness connection. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on Instagram, the Season of Self-Love podcast, for daily inspiration, and join our community conversation about presence and connections. Thank you again for being a part of this journey. So until next week, remember to love yourself fiercely, breathe mindfully, and trust the connection that emerges with you, and be fully present. All right, it's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and you all have an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.